Glenn Beck made a huge point on an episode he just did, talking about what Trump is actually doing with Greenland. How he's truly just pushing the envelope to see who his allies are, who his friends are, and who his enemies are. Prime example, this board of peace. Now, do we believe that there's truly going to be peace in the world? No, we believe that Scripture shows that it's probably the exact opposite, but there could be a time of peace. And so Trump is approaching people, enemies and quote-unquote friends. And again, you won't believe who is accepting the board of peace and who is turning it down. It actually proves exactly what Glenn Beck is saying about President Trump and how he's trying to thread the needle to say, like, you know what, we're going to see who our friends truly are. We're going to talk about what Trump shared and how it kind of made people go crazy. He's the perfect troll for this situation, how he puts this map and puts American flags over all these different areas. The purpose was to make people agitated, and it worked. We're also going to discuss what Elon Musk is doing. He is paying big money to get people into office to unseat rhinos. Huge, huge, huge. Now, Bernie Sanders comes out and says that's wrong, being that he's one of the biggest purveyors of pharma lobby and George Soros. Isn't that funny? That's so funny. Politicians are so sleazy. So I love the fact that what Elon Musk is doing. And then lastly, we're going to discuss Virginia. I mean, you know, this is what happened when you elect Democrats. Republicans are pretty sucky, I know, but Democrats are even worse. So it shows that we need new leadership, period. So I'm glad that we see Elon Musk doing this. But you saw what happened in California. Now they're trying to pass this seizure tax. It's not just a billionaire tax, it's a seizure tax. But wait till you hear what Virginia just got a new Muslim lieutenant governor who basically pledged allegiance to Allah. And then we have a new Democratic governor of the state. And you're not going to believe what she's wanting to pass. Your freedoms and liberties are gone, people. Especially if you keep electing people that won't control over you and to take your rights. Wait till you hear this, because this is exactly the proof of what's taking place all across America with these protests, these riots, and the fact that the freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, freedom of religion, practicing our Christian faith, is at jeopardy. Let's dive into all these stories today, so many more. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. We're humbled again by your support, and we appreciate you being back here today. Now let's talk about the stories of the day. First, let's jump into the situation with what Glenn Beck was saying about Trump, and it kind of goes along from there because it talks about tariffs that we're putting on France because of this border peace thing. So let's start at the very first. I love what Glenn Beck said here about what he believes Trump is doing with Greenland. He says, wow, just watch. President Trump is stress testing the world to see who truly is an ally of the West and who is preparing for war. He said Trump is deciphering the aligned global push, like the WEF or NWO, compared to who is looking to be his friend. He said, look at his hemisphere moves. Venezuela, now Greenland. He said, think about Bukele. Think about Argentina. We're building friendships who agree. Did you hear Poland? Did you hear Hungary? On the Eastern European side, all in agreement with Trump, trying to say that let Trump do what Trump wants to do, and ultimately we're going to be friends with him. Now you see the people pushing against him, people like Canada, which is our neighbor. That's why you see Alberta trying to pull away from Canada. Now, here's another thing. So Trump is trying to do this board of peace. Now, as I said in the intro, I believe there could be a time of peace, a time of revival, a time of reawakening, but we do believe that the world is getting worse and will continue to probably get worse spiritually because of what it says in the Bible. But there could be times of peace and times of relaxation, times of tranquility, whatever you want to say, times of growth for Christianity. I believe all that could truly happen with revival and with us as a nation humbling ourselves and turning back to God. But I digress. This is what I want to bring up to attention, though. Trump is trying to do this board of peace. Well, you know the people he's asked? He's asked some people that are really kind of enemies. He asked people like Tucker Carlson, the influence inside, who really doesn't like Israel, but he's saying, look, there's a place for you here. He's asked Russia. He's asked Putin to be on this, and they're seriously thinking about it. You know what this means? He's saying, look, we may not all get along, but we all do really want peace in the world, so we're not all basically harming each other all the time. We can grow our economies together and all thrive together. I love what Trump is doing here. Doesn't mean that peace is going to last forever, because we know it does not biblically. But France said, no, we don't want this. We're against this board of peace. Did you know that France, Germany, and a lot of the Western European allies of ours are deploying several hundred troops to Greenland. Do they honestly believe they're going to stop us if we wanted to move into Greenland? Do they honestly believe that? So what Glenn was saying was all these situations that Trump is doing, he's stress testing his relationships to see who's going to be faithful to him and America and who is actually going to turn their back on America. If you remember, France and Germany are making conscription come back. They're trying to get their people get ready for war against Russia while Trump is trying to get peace. This is why NATO should be completely dissolved, because it has cost us nothing but a lot of money, and actually the relationship is not that good. It's very strained. I think what Trump is doing is he's building a new alliance. Now, Trump shared a picture, and I'm going to share the picture. It's a meme. It's not truth, but basically it was showing that the North America continent and even parts of South America, along with Venezuela and Greenland, even Canada, had a U.S. flag on it. Now, it was a troll. Is that going to happen? No, Canada is not going to become completely controlled by America. We understand that. But I think the whole point and the whole gist of the situation is Trump is pushing the narrative to say if we want American exceptionalism across the world, listen right quick. Scott Bessent said we're at a 5% growth, 6% growth GDP in the last quarter. That's more than any other president in recent history since we got off the gold standard, by the way. But here's the thing. He said this first quarter of this next year, which is 2026, he says once the numbers come in, this whole year can end up being a 7 or 8% growth of GDP or even more. Do you have a concept of how amazing that is for America? Now, does that mean we need to stop spending? Yes. Does that mean we need to get on balanced budget? Yes, but that's not Trump's situation. That's definitely more of a Congress situation. But what Trump is doing, though, is his move for American exceptionalism, his tariff move, his move against these places to see who his friends are. It's actually making for a better friend test and a negotiation move for Trump and for America as a whole. Because, he just put a tariff on wines coming from Macron, from France. What he's doing is saying, look, if you're going to push on me and you're going to threaten me, we're going to come back with hard, harsh tariffs. They actually threatened to remove NATO, they threatened to move American bases out of NATO countries. That would be amazing. That's exactly what we want. If we want America first, let's get away from NATO because they cause more problems than they're worth. If we see a fight that we should fight, let it be on our own recognizances and not some stupid agreement that puts us in war. So I love this move, and I think Glenn Beck hit it nail on the head. It's a stress test to see who is faithful to you. It's kind of like, you have these relationships. When you go through high moments and you're making a lot of money, you have a lot of friends, it seems like everything's going perfect. But when things get rough, it's the people that stand beside you is your true family, true friends, and true people you can trust. Am I right or am I wrong? I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. J.P. Morgan came out and actually said this. He said, we don't want to admit it, truthfully. And they said it kind of because they don't like Trump. They literally said that if America takes over Greenland, it actually would be a monster move and actually calls for a huge bump, probably for the world stock markets all over, because they know good things would come out of it, minerals would come out of it, and to be honest with you, the world would be better. So let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a very unique 2026. Now I want to move on to Virginia because this is a big deal. It says, right now, the Virginia state capitol, there's people with armed protest all over this area because of gun measures that they're trying to put in to take away your rights of freedom of the Second Amendment. I want you to listen to this from Greg Price. It says, Democrats now control the legislature and the governor's office in Virginia. Here's just a few of the bills they've introduced. Now, this shows Democrats are destroying America even worse than Republicans. Now, the whole political class is pathetic, and they're elitist, and they have a bureaucratic way about it, and that's why I love what Elon's doing. We're going to talk about that. I want you to listen to some of the things they're proposing in Virginia. Now, this was supposedly a southern stronghold, a conservative stronghold. Actually, what it is the bureaucracy of Washington has moved into Virginia and ruined the state. It's happening in North Carolina, too, by the way. But here it is. It says, they're proposing a new 4.3% sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon, and delivery. So that means everything that you're already purchasing, you're already paying high taxes. Now they want you to pay more taxes on your net money, which is for your foods and for Amazon orders. New sales tax on emissions into a wide variety of businesses. So again, more tax. Instead of cutting money and funding and fraud, they want to charge you more. So that means you're going to be more imprisoned in this state, just like they are in California. California's doing the same thing. They're taking the plan from California and implementing in Virginia. Create 2 new higher tax brackets, so therefore there could be another 8 to 10% of taxation on people making over $600,000. Remember, that sounds like a lot of money, but if you own a business, say you're only making $100,000, but your business is worth a lot because you're working for your business, then now that is taxed more. That means less wage, and that means less capital spent on whatever the situation is and whatever the business is pushing. 3.8% investment tax on top of the state income tax, so more taxation. A new 10% bracket for everybody making over $1 million. Raise hotel tax. New proposed property tax for landscaping equipment to go up, so charging you more on your property tax. New ban on powered leaf blowers, so they want you to use battery powered. Guarantee illegal alien free education. Make illegals to approach somebody at an abortion clinic and be able to pay for it, so we can pay for their coverage, which we don't want to do. Allow people to cast their votes electronically by the internet, so no voter ID. Also taking away, listen to this, taking away certain rights and certain capacities of firearms and Second Amendment rights. Prohibit outdoor shooting of firearms if you have less than 5 acres, you can't utilize your own firearms on your own property. 11% sales tax on firearms, so they're trying to charge you more so you can't afford it. That's just a few. That's what Democrats do. That's what they ruin. They ruin the states. Now, Republicans are not much better, so please understand when I say most of them need to be gone too. But this is why I love what Elon Musk is doing. Elon Musk just came out and invested $10 million in a one-person run against Mitch McConnell, another $10 million in another candidate, and I think he's going to do more of this. Now, Bernie Sanders has a problem with it. Bernie's like, this is crazy that we have billionaires paying for, these votes. Basically, he gets special interest. Now, this is coming from the man who's made Pfizer's paid Bernie over $20 million in lobby fees. That's public knowledge now. This is over a man who has 4 homes, or 3 homes he's supposed to represent the socialists, but to be honest with you, he's just becoming filthy rich. This is also for the man who is supporting all these NGO funding and all these frauds that are being funded by George Soros and other billionaire elites that are not even American. Did you know the Singham family, all those that they're from China and all that? That's the people that Bernie Sanders is okay, but Elon Musk not. It's unbelievable. But what Elon Musk is doing is he's trying to unseat rhinos, like the Mitch McConnells. And I hope he goes for the others too. The one in Louisiana, Cassidy. Now, the one that Trump and Elon are standing behind, it's not that she's some firecracker or a winner, but it may be somebody different to then get some of these rhinos out. I think the more pressure they put on these situations, the more I think, hopefully, the senators, because they're all grifters, they're all liars, they're all manipulators, hopefully they'll all say, well, I better get on the right side of this stuff and actually start voting for Trump and start doing the SAVE Act and doing voter ID and doing getting rid of the filibuster. You see, the pressure that Elon Musk could use and put on these people is astronomical. It's important because it could actually start making inroads into some of these rhino establishment career politicians that's made filthy funds off of you. Millions of dollars off of you. It's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans. They're all making piles of our money. There was an interview done with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance said that only 12% of funding that we're sending out, meaning what the government spends, only about 12% goes to the actual thing that they passed the bill for. Think about that now. So say we pass a bill for $100 million or $100 billion. 12% of that goes to the purpose. The other 88% goes to all the big players all along the way that made the bill happen. Now, think about that. Think about how many hands get a lot of money. That's where a lot of the fraud comes from. Don't you agree? Where you at, Pam Bondi? Why are we not arresting these people? So, love what Elon's doing. I love the fact that Trump is pushing for other people to win some of these things because we have to get rid of the worthless people in Congress because all they care about is themselves and not the American people. It's funny how they're supposed to represent you, huh? It's not happening. Now let's talk about this church situation yesterday. And again, we brought this up, but did you know the paid protester, and I say paid protester, the guy that went in, that's not been arrested yet, that caused the havoc in the church, did you know that he was the same one identified in D.C. going after the National Guardsmen and the ICE when they were trying to save D.C. Did you know that? So what it shows is people like Bernie Sanders telling you how bad Elon Musk is. The same people are allowing for the funding of all these people to be paid protesters and just hop all over the country to cause havoc. Did you know that all these leftist protests, not once have they held up an American flag to represent us? They want to talk about freedoms and all the benefits they have as Americans, but they never once actually promote Americanism and America First policies. They always promote Palestinian, they always promote Ukrainian, they always promote the LGBT alphabet, they always promote some form of propaganda that's against the American way. Now, here's the point I want to bring up with this. People are like, oh, we're outraged over this church thing. You know how many evangelicals voted in the last election? 40%. So the what we consider Protestant or Christian faith, the Southern Baptist, what we consider a movement, only 40% of the people that claim to be Christians voted last time. So do we honestly believe change is going to happen if we're not voting as a big group to make policy changes? That's why you see Virginia falling like it is. That's why you see California falling like it is. That's why you see a lot of these states electing the same old people. It causes the problem. Because we see the outrage with Minnesota. We hear about the fraud. We hear about the paid protests. But yet, we're like, oh, voting doesn't matter. Well, if 100% of the Christians would vote, it may matter. But the bottom line is, like Tim Burchett said, that only 40% of evangelicals are actually voting. So forget the outrage. What's it matter? Because if you're not going to vote, if you're just going to grandstand on it, then if we're not voting to actually make policy changes, then what's the point? This is where I'd love to see people like Elon Musk truly get saved and life changed, converted. I'd love to see Trump truly go on the Christian movement, because if they really got behind that and people really stood up for change and wanting freedom and liberty, but not only that, having a spiritual growth in our nation, I believe we would have a time of peace. You know, there's a viral video going now of what we consider right conservatives, people like the Tate brothers and Sneeko and Fuentes and all these people, and it's like that's not representing the right at all. That's not conservatism at all. It's a bunch of groomer guys who have Muslim ties, who have, you know, LGBT alphabet ties. They're not representing us. But, you know, when the church is silent and when us as conservatives act like we have to work all day and we can't actually do something for the movement, then that's who actually gets to influence. That's who actually gets to impact. Those kind of people. And you know what? We deserve what we get. I love what this author said that wrote a book about Christianity in America. He said the reason you see the Islamification and the wokeism in America is because it's truly probably punishment from God, because Christians are just lackadaisical. They're lazy. They don't care anymore. They believe they're always going to be okay. And now you're starting to see the ramifications of not being on fire for God and not actually trying to do something about politics and about the establishment and about the fraud going on. It's not too little too late, but it is time for Christians to stand up, because if not, we're going to see what happened in the church keep on happening. And when we don't see arrest, that same guy that caused problems in D.C., the same guy that caused problems in the church, is going to be the same guy, and it's going to escalate. And now you're going to start seeing it get worse and worse and worse. What happens when there's another church attack? Every church better be ready, locked, and loaded, but not only to defend. I'm tired of Christians acting like they have to always be on the reaction instead of the proaction. Let's get proactive and actually start doing something. Not have 40% vote, have 95% vote. Not just have churches talk about doing something, actually walk it and be the one true church. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Now, to end this video, do we need Greenland? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I voted for Trump, so if they see that Greenland's a good play, great, awesome. It's in our hemisphere. It's dealing with trade and tariffs. I understand the push there. Do we need Venezuela? I do. I told you I had made a case about that in a video, that I do believe there's benefits with Venezuela. Again, trade routes, dealing with the Panama Canal, but also dealing with the fact that they're literally at our back door. I'm in southern United States, so Venezuela is a much closer situation than what Greenland is for me. Do we trust everything that's happening in Washington? Absolutely not. Do we think that everybody is doing things to benefit America? Probably not. But when you hear of churches getting attacked, when you see that the Second Amendment's getting attacked, when you see that more taxes are on the people, It's got to make you stand up. It's got to make you wake up. It's got to make you say, you know what? We've got to fix all this. I say this, I cannot state this enough. Until we get career politicians out of D.C. and we start getting new faces up there that actually have worked on Main Street, who actually see the dangers of taxation, who actually see the dangers of property tax or the fraud, nothing will change. We cannot elect Roger Wicker from Mississippi and Tom Cotton from Arkansas and Cornyn from Texas and Murkowski or Collins, you name them, whoever you want to name, or the congressman too. If we keep electing them same people to do the same thing that they've been doing for 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7 terms, the Lindsey Grahams, the Mitch McConnells, if we keep electing them and thinking they're going to do something different, then we're the fools. And just like that guy said, it's probably our own problem. We've made the own problem in Mississippi, and we've made our own problems in America by not standing up, being lackadaisical, and just thinking that these people are actually going to do a job for us. I love what Trump's doing. It's something totally different. And that's why I think that the Greenland play, the Venezuela play, the fact of the stress that Glenn Beck was talking about, all that actually is a good thing because it's something we've never seen. And when he's going against NATO and going against all these players that really don't like us and they have a global push, then that actually shows that he's probably doing something right. When our economy is growing, no matter if you believe it or not, it is growing. If you have a retirement fund, your retirement fund has done very good this year. You can deny it, but the truth is it's done really good. It shows that there may be some good happening, but it's going to take people waking up. And last point is, 40% of the evangelicals can't be the only ones being proactive. It's going to take 100% of the evangelicals. It's going to take 100% of the conservatives. It's going to take 100% of the people that love freedom and liberty and Christianity and spiritual, opportunities and family to be the people they're supposed to be and actually represent what they want and actually be proactive. When we start being proactive instead of reactive, we can make things happen in America for the good. Change the right way. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.